All right, today we're going to talk about geofences, um, how to use them, how to set them, so you can increase your marketing automation. I'm going to utilize the dashboard from High Tech 2015 show because it still shows some of these little balloons, which are participants or folks that have registered for your app that are showing up where they're currently at. So as folks come in, register, put in their information based on certain um, criteria, they show up on the map in different colors. So if we want to see who the customer is over in California here, we can just hover over and we see his name. We can click on him and see a little bit more information about him and his travels and his participations and so forth. As we go around the world, we can do the same type of thing all across. Now, these are your people as they're scattered around, and that's already amazing information. Is where are your customers? We can see where they are. We can track their travel patterns. Now, if we want to drill down into a certain area, I'm going to pick on an area here in Austin, Texas, where we've got some geofences set up. Okay. So we've got some areas already kind of established and set up in here from previous demos. So I can hover over that and I see there's the Hyatt Regency in Austin. We'll come over here. There's the Convention Center, Four Seasons, open party entrance over there, Omni Austin. So what we can do is set different areas and identify when somebody comes into this area, they're going to get a message, or we can just track how long somebody is in this area. So if we want to drill down a little bit, we'll show you how easy it is to set one of these. Let's pick on the Iron Cactus Mexican Grill and Margarita Bar. So we can grab one of these shapes, and we'll probably want to cover a little bit off into the street. Cover both sides of the street. There we go. We'll identify that as the Margarita Bar. And hit save. Segment successfully created. It marks the latitude and longitude for us, identifies the address, and anybody now that comes around this area will know that they're inside that space. Now, I can create messages from my tool chest and apply any one of these messages. Okay, so I'm already on this area, and if we want to apply, let's just say, this particular message to that area, because I'm selected here, it automatically shows up so I know what message is selected. So now anytime somebody comes in contact with this geofence, they will get this message. It's that quick and easy. We can track now all of your segment hits by coming over here and seeing, 57 folks have received the Buffalo Billiards message. 83 went past the Marriott Courtyard message, things like that. So real time, as people are hitting and coming around the different geofences that are set up, we can come in here and see that they're hitting them. Now we've also got an activity called redirects. And redirect you can set that basically identifies if somebody is in one place and you want to drive them back to a location, we set something that's called a redirect. And when I identify one of these areas, you notice that it identifies is that a redirect location. So basically what that means is, let's just say that for all intents and purposes, I'm at the Omni Austin Hotel. That's the customer that's using this tool. and we're setting some fences around some of the local competitor locations, some local bars, some local restaurants. So I'll want to set the Omni Austin Hotel as a redirect site, which will tell us real time that if I set some offers over here at Perry Steakhouse and one of my people leave from the Omni and go to here and they reply some specific rules, the message that they get, does it redirect them back into here from their starting location? And if it does, this column will automatically identify that, so we know that that promotion drove that consumer back over to our area. So you can see real time, is it working? Now, let's talk about some different custom rules that we can set, which makes this a much more powerful and personalized tool. We can identify your members by different segment statuses, and these segment statuses can be customized based on your campaigns or your consumers' lifestyle titles. So in this instance, we've got local and visitors. Are they members or are they anonymous? So your local folks is everybody's got a local address when they have registered in. The visitors, they've got an external address other than the location that you're currently speaking about. Have they gone through and registered and you filled out the information form at the forefront of your app, or are they just anonymous, in which case we still know where they are and where a specific user is. They'll show up in a different color on the map. Those will be your black balloons. But we can still track them and we can still message them even though they have not filled out any type of registration form. Or are they members that have already filled out those types of forms? Different filters that we can apply really help out with the execution of all of the campaigns. So we're looking at time. We want, when they pass over this geofence over here at Perry Steakhouse, it really doesn't do them a whole lot of good at noon to get a breakfast special message. So we can set different segment messaging based on time. From 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., if somebody comes across this fence, then they'll get a message. If it's 11:02, they will not get that breakfast message. So you're going to increase your adoption rate. Automatic expiration dates are fantastic. I hate getting a Valentine's Day message on the 15th of February. So, and then from an administrative point of view, you don't have to remember to remove that and come in here and take that off. So if you're running a Super Bowl special, Valentine's Day special, Wednesdays only type of thing, you can set expiration, or you can come in and set days. Hey, every Wednesday we want to run Ladies' Night special. Every Tuesday is 2 for Tuesday. So on Wednesday, you won't get that message when you come across your true marketing automation for your consumers. If we happen to know through the registration process the consumer's birthday, we can put a birthday range. In other words, from a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of a campaign, if I cross this fence and your birthday happens to be within start date and end date that you put in under birthday, then we'll send a birthday message that says, hey, happy birthday, Steve or Jim or Bob. We can put in their name dynamically if we've got that in the registration process. And it makes it look like a much more personalized message, and you've got, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Dwell time is huge. If you're in a destination area and your competition or the local bar or local pub or a playhouse or something of that nature is a location that they're going to go to, just because as soon as they broach this fence and you hit them with a geo-targeted message, doesn't mean that they're going to get back into that taxi and just hop in and turn back around and redirect themselves back over here to your location. So we're going to put in something called dwell time. So if you apply a dwell time to here, we're going to say, okay, we know that you've come over here to this other location. If you've spent more than, let's say, 2 hours, 2.5 hours in this location, then automatically ping with a message. with an offer that says, hey, we've got 2-for-1 theater tickets available, for 10 o'clock coming up show. Come on back over to the location. That will allow them to spend the time in there, and then they get the message, and then it redirects them back over. And if you've got that labeled as a redirect, we can absolutely sit and watch live those numbers of redirects increase. Additionally, if you're doing coupons or redemptions, we can keep track of users that have redeemed specific coupons. Maybe you've got running a campaign that has multiple redemptions on the coupon. So everybody that has a redemption available or left will get a message after they've gone ahead and passed over a certain geofence. Departure is also another one. If you're a destination location and in your registration you let us know through one of the form fields that your arrival date and your departure date, and you cross one of these fences, or we've got an overall fence, or you've hit the airport, we can give you a very nice exit message. If we know your departure date and you're still at the hotel or a specific venue, we can forward and say, hey, do you have transportation arranged? We know that you're leaving on X date, so we can message you correctly. Now, all of these filters can be applied, but we want to also apply them to specific segments as well as levels. So I can say, hey, all of my local people that are suppliers in this case, or that are my gold members, my platinum members, things of that nature. So we can kind of customize each of these experiences based on who you are. In other words, I've got theater tickets, or I've got club tickets, entrances that I want to redirect and get people to come back into my establishment between 10 and midnight. I need to increase my crowd participation then. You may offer to your higher end folks, your platinum folks, that's free admission to come back. And we'll set that fence for those people. It's free admission message. Now, maybe your diamond or your gold members, they're also going to get a message, but for those people, it may be a buy one, get one free. We'll admit that the ladies and the gentleman has to pay. So from the same campaign, we can sit and watch how is it doing. Okay, how many redirects have we gotten back to that certain location? And then go ahead and apply the next segment and offer them just a little bit less incentive and get them driven over. And very possibly my silver folks are going to get a message when they cross over this fence that just simply says information only. No discount or anything like that. Hey, the club is open from midnight to 2 a.m. Come on over, cover charge is $20. Whereas if they were a platinum member and they hit that same location, they would get it free, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of work with your different offers or messaging based on who an individual is, based on time, birthday, how long, and everything else in there. Steve, go ahead. You've got a couple of questions.
Yes, Edward, how does it work on the dwell time if you want to kind of tap or top the dwell times off on top of another? So in other words, if they spend 15 minutes at location A and then 30 minutes at location B and then 40 minutes at location C, then you can kind of bring those all together to where all three of those events have to occur before they get message X. Is that right?
That's correct. So you would set a prerequisite here and say, hey, you've got to spend 20 minutes here at this location if, in fact, you've spent X minutes here and X minutes here. So I can line up these prerequisites in order so we can identify, hey, if you've gone to the pool and if this customer's also gone to the bar, we're not going to necessarily message them anywhere in there, but then if they go to dinner, we're going to give them something off.
Okay, and so if a restaurant or any kind of a venue wanted to set up, let's say, something like a virtual scavenger hunt, they could really kind of come into this dashboard any night, any time, and throw up around 5 or 6 locations and have some kind of a game where people have to go and spend 15 minutes at each one of those locations, maybe getting a drink there, an appetizer here, or whatever they want to do, and then making kind of a game for those people who visit those locations and spend a certain amount of time where they would win something back at the hotel of choice or whatever the venue is that created the game. That would
Yep.
be very easy to do. Would that be right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Wow, gives you a lot of options to really engage in. How far out do these geofences go? We're looking at Austin. Could we actually track somebody in India?
Oh, absolutely. So if I zoom all the way out, the reason why I chose this account is because there's a bunch of folks still connected to it.
Okay, and the black folks, or what were those again? Those are people who are anonymous, right?
The black folks are anonymous. In other words, they did not complete the registration form, but I still know where they are. I just don't know who they are.
And what's the blue one over there in Denver?
I think those are, for this campaign, those were the suppliers, and the yellow are the attendees for this particular show.
Okay, and these colors could be gold, silver, platinum. I mean, they could each customer can kind of determine what the color is to give them a bird's eye view of where whatever their status is, where they're at that location. Correct?
That's correct.
Now, you mentioned earlier that we could also track their travel time or how they got to Denver. How do you do that?
Well, essentially, right the moment you see we've got some folks here in France and Poland, Denmark, Puerto Rico. So if we know where they are from, we'll set a welcome message when they're coming into the location that you're currently servicing. So if it's Austin, for example, I'll set a fence around Austin and say, hey, welcome to Austin, Texas, something like
Okay.
that. But we're tracking these individuals, on a frequent interval, so we know that, hey, this person's been over here for a while. How long has he been over here? We could put a fence around this area over on this side of the locational boundaries and message them if we need to. Say, hey, hopefully you're thinking about us. Here's some things that are coming up for fall. If you're linked to your CRMs and we run a report that identifies, this particular customer typically comes in for New Year's. You can go ahead and segment those folks out and message them.
Right, and let's say the guy in France over there, he came over to Vegas and he played golf. So we kind of know he likes to play golf, and then we also know he lives in France. So then we could draw a geofence maybe around a couple local golf courses in France. When he gets within a mile or 5 miles or whatever of his favorite country club, then we can have an automatic message go out kind of thanking him for coming to Vegas and thought that he might enjoy teeing off near home. Love the Hilton or whatever, right?
That's correct. Now,
That-
what we've been discussing is outside. If we take a look at
Yeah.
during full show capacity here, that's kind of what the screenshot looked like, where we had a lot of users and when they're floating around in the different areas and so forth. So you can see
Wow.
we were able to see everybody outside Austin. Are they all coming inside Austin? Where are they primarily hanging out? Some folks at the hotels. Here's some folks at the party. Here's some folks in travel and en route to different places. We're able to identify where they were all coming from, and then when they dispersed and went back out, back to their locations. But additionally, this is outside view. With the same service and ease of use, we can utilize this indoors. So we've got an indoor engine, which allows you to load up a map. And by utilizing BLEs, Bluetooth beacons, we can place those in and around the location of your lobbies and in the bar area and the restaurant areas, things of that nature. So from an inside perspective, I know exactly where you are as well and can move you from one location to the other. So when I've got live people in there, the map kind of looks like this. There's a large concentration of folks over here. How long have they been over here? Where's the most popular spots? We can run live and real-time heat maps that show you the different travel patterns of how an individual comes in. Most of your gold members all come into a casino or a hotel and they go straight to the right to the bar. Or most of your other folks, your silver, your platinum members potentially, they don't even go past the restaurant or the bar. They go straight up to their room. So in other words, we're going to ping that they go straight to the elevator area. No, so
Can we drill down on the actual individual here, or like get down to the level of one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can just the same
How
way.
would we do that?
Well, this is a screenshot, Steve. So
Okay.
There's nobody in the convention anymore. This was back a while.
Okay, so but you pretty much just kind of click on it and you get the
Just
information.
hover over it, and I know exactly who it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess you could do, so this could also be a supermarket if we wanted to, so we know where all the customers are in which aisle. How far can we narrow down? Is it a matter of like 5 or 6, 8 inches, or?
Yeah, you can get within a foot,
Okay.
or inches if we drill it down.
Okay.
This is kind of like an aisle scenario here, so we can,
Uh-huh.
as a quick example. Now, from the different floors, we can flip-flop and have different floors loaded up, so we can see what's going on in each of our locations. The floors, change around. We can see who's at the bar area, who's around the main stage. Do I have too many people in one area? Do we want to incentivize some of these folks over here by drawing kind of a rubber band around these folks and sending them a message? Try to move them or redirect them and say, hey, this bar doesn't have any activity. Come on over here. So you can kind of crowd manage as well, a little bit from afar.
Wow. And then I think unlike maybe some geofences, we can actually track, like let's say there's 50 people inside of a geographical area that have all penetrated the main stage area or whatever. We can actually drill down, where they are within that geofence down to a, 5 or 6 foot level, rather than just knowing that 73 people are somewhere in the fence. Is that right?
Right. Right. Like here, we're tracking different specific meeting rooms.
Yeah. Oh, so you have who's in what meeting room? I mean, we could literally take a customer from France, follow him all the way into the casino, and then know exactly what tables he sits at, what slot machines he likes, and be able to communicate with him exactly the way he likes to be communicated with because of this technology. Is that right?
That's correct.
Pretty powerful.
So that was indoor and outdoor. Now let's go to a manual engine very quickly. Just got to
Okay.
identify. So from a manual side, we can message not necessarily just utilizing the map side, but we can send and create push notification messages directly to specific groups or users or individuals. See exactly a preview of how it's going to show up over here, schedule it, and send out bulk blanket messages to your attendees, to all your golds, to all your silvers, to all your platinums at one time at certain specific time ranges. Come in and create those types of things. What's the message? The message is personalized. So we'll say, hey, type in first name here. So it'll come in, hey, Steve. And if there's no first name, if they're anonymous, they'll just say, hey, comma. So the sentence still, works correctly. You can, when your push notification comes in, we can go ahead and put in a sound. So the specific sound, slot machine sounds plays, some branded sound that goes along with your brand, so they realize that message is from you, from your location. Those can come in directly as well. Breaking that down from a segmentation perspective, extremely quick and easy. You can upload your own list if you want to. You can see a list of everybody that's in here. If you just want to come in and just pick out, certain specific individuals that we want to send to these folks, you can select all the individuals, or we can come down here and just segment them by, have they got reservations? Let's age range. Whatever data that we're collecting, we can segment the message based on. What's their birth date range? Are they all my locals? Send them a message. All my visitors, so we don't mess with our locals, send them a message. All of the different additional fields that you would like to try to get in touch with. Everybody from a certain state. Hey, all my Texas people, come on over to here. There's country music playing. Things like that. So it's very quick and easy. They can go real time, or you can go ahead and schedule this out.
Now, if a customer wanted a multiple geofences, like if we wanted to put a geofence around every Scottrade office in the United States, is there something they have with an Excel spreadsheet with addresses that automatically kind of does that for 3,000 locations rather than having to manually draw through 3,000 circles?
Absolutely. As long as we've got their exact address, and we'll put in the size of the fence, it'll automatically put in a circular type of a fence around the location with a specific radius automatically during the upload of the CSV file.
Great. So if we wanted to make sure and only hit people maybe walking into the Scottrade office, but not the cars driving by on the busy street, then we adjust the size of that fence to make sure that we only hit the parking lot, not the road next door to it.
Right. Now, if you want to do it in automatic style, it's going to put a circle. If you want to get, very, very specific, then we'll do something like this, where we're going to go just inside the building side. And this way we're sure that we're not bugging anybody walking by, but anybody that enters is going to get pinged. So you can adjust it that way as well.
Okay, and then we need to have, if we want to track them on the inside, we need to have sensors or beacons on the inside. That way we follow them in down to the, like what we illustrated there in the previous screens, correct?
Right. Now,
Okay.
we can still manage quite a bit from the outside perspective. If you take a look at something like this, if we drill down and imagine that this is one building, we can draw specific fences even on the outside without having to necessarily put BLE sensors all on the inside. I can split this building up with different fences if I know that, a restaurant is over on this side and the bar is over on this side of my building and the jazz club is over on this side of the building. We don't necessarily have to go outside or inside with it. Rather, we can go ahead and just segment this entire building off into about 4 different sections.
Would we ever use a sensor on the outside for any reason, or do we have enough capacity to drill down? Why would we use a sensor on the outside, if at all?
Oh, you wouldn't. Just on the inside if I have to know that that person is in a specific spot. In other words,
Okay.
I can chop this building up with different shapes. Right? And we know that that's that guy. And if somebody comes over to this area, there's all my Pebble folks. Okay, so we can chop that up, something like that, and chop a building all the way up. But if inside like this area we've got, 5 or 6 or 7 shops all in here, then you'll want to get a beacon and put them inside that specific shop if I need to know somebody in a certain indoor location. If it's, fairly large or generic like this, then we can chop a building up.
Okay. So if we were inside of a mall, would we place it like in the hallway to know they were in front of, let's say, Hallmark cards, but then another one on the inside where we could actually track what aisle they're on?
If you've got to get that granular, you'll want to go inside the building. If you just want to know that they're in Lord & Taylor as opposed to Macy's, as opposed to Dillard's, those are typically your flagships on the ends, and then we could just chop them all up like I just showed you here.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Awesome. So lots of different flexibilities. Everything is completely customized, very user-friendly to sit and watch, how your tracking is moving around. And hopefully that helped and answered some certain questions for you.
Yeah, thank you, Edward. And I'm sure that people's marketing minds are going very creatively. And if it is, feel free to schedule a call with myself or with Edward to drill down on any specific ideas you might have to use this technology to develop relationships, increase revenue, and just a whole number of things we can share with you on an individual basis. So thank you so much for your time, Edward, and great job.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.